The counterculture is now aware of false flags, operations that are executed by the powers that be and blamed on someone else, are now being called out in real time on social media platforms, despite all the censorship. It's becoming popular, and if the powers that be can no longer trick us, then they will try and hurt us. According to the scientific data, nearly all humans have a certain degree of psychic awareness, and some of us become acutely aware of it. The term remote viewing was coined by the U.S. Department of Defense when they began training people in this field. It is the art of viewing an unknown target at any distance within the mind's eye and retrieving accurate data. To refine this data, remote viewers work together as a team and look for redundant data.
When we look at remote viewing data, if one person says something, that's interesting. If two describe the same thing, that's a little more weight. When 3 or 4 describe the same thing, we pretty much take that to the bank.
Remote viewing teams such as the Future Forecasting Group work with a double-blind protocol. This means that they do not know where or what the target is. The information they are given is an arbitrarily designated number, such as A9I5-Q7K4. As they blindly view the target in a meditative state of focus, imagery is flashed in the mind and immediately sketched out and collected. The Future Forecasting Group has been successful at predicting the Panama Canal incident, the destruction of the Kakhovka Dam in Ukraine, the Halloween stampede in South Korea, police violence at the Canadian trucker protest, and many others. The Future Forecasting Group was recently assigned the target of the next financial crisis, but the entire team was all distracted by overpowering images of a catastrophic event. They all saw the same thing: massive explosions with multiple points of impact, small particles and debris falling from the sky, people sick with cesium, which is the most dangerous of all radioactive isotopes used in dirty bomb scenarios. They saw police checkpoints, people seeking shelter underground, and an exodus of sad-looking people. Remote viewing goes back in the written record for millennia and has been repeated in the current scientific record for decades. According to this body of work, most people are able to do this, and this is why Cliff High's predictive linguistics program works. By reading the entirety of human language across the World Wide Web, the program will list repeated words and phrases in all languages, creating a macroscopic view of what everyone is talking about. So if all humans are psychic, whether they know it or not, then you would see it in the collective chatter, especially for traumatic events. The bigger the trauma, the more people would be emoting their anxiety online. And key words can be found, such as the word ejecta, which has been showing up in Cliff High's work, which shows the same event.
My data has very rarely had this particular set of words show up in it, and one of it was ejecta. Ejecta, as though...
And that was in our remote viewing data,
Predictive linguistics reveals a time frame of when a big event happens at the point in time when the tension language ends and the release language begins. The tension language is the psychic awareness before an event, and the release language is the event itself as everyone is made aware. Based on this, Cliff High sees this event happening near the end of the year. Both the predictive linguistics and the Future Forecasting Group saw that this was a decision that was made by some faction of government, and they propose that if enough eyes are on the powers that be, then maybe it will never happen.
We are in this period of time that I call uncertainty, okay? And from here to the event is an uncertain period of time in which we will feel uncertainty as we move towards this event. But I'm of the opinion that we can do things now that will alter the potential future that would arise.
You have data from your collection method, which was obtained independently from our collection method, but both seem to be indicating an event. The may be hitting the fan. Is that a accurate summary?
That's a fair characterization, indeed. And it's there. We got to take into account the May. All right. So I liked when Daz talked about in your presentation. He talked about, that the future, this particular future, may not be fully formed.
Yeah.
It's not mere hours, it's months probably, right?
Yeah.
And so I agree with him. And the may aspect is what has me motivated to tell people about this, right? Because we don't know. All right.
Yeah.
So we don't know if enough people knew that they were going to do attack on Lahaina, and if enough people were standing there watching for it, would it have happened? Would they have dared to do it? Right. At some point, the level of consciousness of the body politic will overwhelm their ability to hide things, and that is a big barrier for them, right? They can't be called out on this. So now, in the future, Oprah is going to be called out on all the activity in Lahaina, as will Rox, or whatever the guy's name is, and all of Bezos and all of these other people directly as they're trying to do other things. And so it'll intrude on their lives to the point that it will affect their lives. Now, if we'd had this en masse, if everybody in the United States thought, or, I don't say everybody, but I mean, a significant portion of the non-normies.
Yeah.
So if we thought that there were 30% normies that are just not going to wake up at this point for any reason, but there's 30% of the population that is awake and 30% of the population that is in flux, well, perhaps we could get 40 or 50% of the population to focus on wherever the attack might happen, that it may arise in the future. Now, I'm going to draw a little picture, and I'm going to explain from my viewpoint how Daz's words reflect this, right? And my little picture is a picture of the future, how I envision it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we are here, so if we're out here, and this is the future headed in this way, and the future, in my opinion, is like a horizontal tornado, right? And it's just lying out there, and that's as wide as that future is. There are no timelines on the other side of it. There's no fixed anything on the other side of it. It is a maelstrom. It is flux at a primary level. And so what Daz, in my opinion, is seeing is this tornado bringing up chunks of stuff that he could envision it, right? He could see it in his remote viewing. And so all you remote viewers, in my opinion, are seeing the chunks that are being brought up here. Now, if we're standing right here, looking at it mere hours away, you're going to see the chunks of the manifesting future right as it is manifesting. Thus, call you guys got 6 hours ahead of time, right?
Yeah.
Because you were so accurate at that. But here we are at least 90 days out. And so if we're 3 months here, there's a little bit of wiggle room in this period of time here, so that we don't know what's going to actually manifest. Maybe this particular image of some place being a target for a do, maybe that will fold back into the developing reality, because we do things out here that prevent those people from making that decision to do it.